Hi everyone, I'm really sorry I can't be there in person. This was one of my kind of dream speaking gigs of the year, but family circumstances have intervened, so I'm delivering it via YouTube. I've been writing copy to sell subscriptions now for 25 years, and what I thought I'd do today is to give you one practical tip for more economical marketing for each of my 5 years in the business. I'd like to start though with a cautionary tale. A client of ours, client of Sunfish's, who's a kind of global marketing director, flew out to review what was happening in one of her teams, and they very proudly presented her with a sort of 45-minute PowerPoint showing this email campaign in all its glory. And they sent out 7 million emails, and they were showing her about the effects of graphic versus textual calls to action, different colours, click-through rates here, heat maps there. When the presentation finished, she said, "And how many subscriptions have we actually sold?" And the answer came back, 4. So that's, as I say, a cautionary tale. Let's not get so wrapped up in the technology and even testing and forget the most basic thing, which is at the end of the day, what matters is return on investment. And these tips that I'm going to share with you now do all of that, I think. So tip number 1 is to spend more time on your headline. Now, David Ogilvy, one of my sort of gurus, researched and found out that 4 times as many people read the headline as the body copy. So this is where it's worth spending the effort. Some ideas are to appeal to greed, to appeal to people's curiosity, to focus on the problem, not the solution. If you're running a parenting magazine, having a headline that says, "Why should you be the only parent awake at 3 in the morning?" I think that is going to resonate with people. Also, I think it's worth saying, don't focus or don't try and come up with these dreadful, lame puns. Again, I've seen things, a conference, for example, aimed at people in the battery industry with a headline, "Recharge your knowledge of the battery industry." I mean, it sounds very good at the time, but it really doesn't wash. There's no benefit, there's no appeal to self-interest. And my simple tip, if you like, for headline writing is to start with the word how, then the title of your magazine, How Sunfish Copywriting Monthly, then the word helps you to, then the main benefit, get a better return on your investment, and then you could even have a subhead with your offer and a deadline if you really want to sort of push them off the fence a bit. Tip number 2 is to think equally hard about your opening sentence. The great American mail-order copywriter Joe Sugarman has said that the only point of your first sentence is to make people read your second sentence, and so on and so on and so on. So this is not the place for cliches, statements of the bleeding obvious, telling people what they already know, or particularly sharing your feelings with your reader. You may start a letter or an email, "I'm delighted to tell you that we've totally relaunched our website." Nobody's that interested, except possibly you and your web development team. On the other hand, if you explain why you're writing to them, or you flatter them in some way, as a seasoned motorcyclist, you know better than anyone, ... Keep them short. Even a one-word opening sentence can be very successful. We did a promotion for the grocer, William Reed title, some years ago, and the first sentence was offers. And we weren't talking about subscription offers, although it led into that. We were talking about the general state of play in the grocery industry. My third tip is sell the product, not the offer. Now, I suspect this might be a little controversial, particularly in the kind of men's and women's glossy monthlies segment of the industry, where we typically see, "Get this bottle of perfume," or "Get this camera case," or whatever it might be, or 12 issues for £1, or whatever it might be. And I'm sure it's a good way of piling on the pounds, putting on volume very, very quickly. And I know the kind of publishing reasons why you might want to do that. But ultimately, you are just buying volume. It's what I call bribe to subscribe. You're not developing a deep engagement between the subscriber and the title. And where you will discover this is when you come to convert or renew those subscriptions. And I've talked to plenty of subscriptions managers who've said exactly that you can buy as many subscriptions as you've got deep enough pockets for, but you will lose a huge proportion of those down the line. So my advice to you is to focus on How does your title make the reader's life easier, better, or simpler in some way? And focus on that. Do also think about why they might not want to subscribe. In other words, objection handling. Make a list on a sheet of paper of all the objections you can think of to why somebody wouldn't subscribe to your title. And then in the other column, overcome those objections and let that feed into your copy. Now, there's nothing wrong with talking about your subscriptions offer. In fact, I'm amazed these days when I find a client who doesn't have any sort of offer. It's take it or leave it. But I think it should be a sub-argument. It should be a tipper off the fence, not the big pitch. My fourth tip is don't insult your reader. Again, a quote from David Ogilvy too, in fact. He said, "The customer isn't a moron, she's your wife," and I think we can forgive him his kind of mid-60s sexism. And he also said, "You wouldn't lie to your family, so don't lie to mine." Now, some years ago, my business partner, to whom I'm also married, received a mail shot from a women's glossy monthly, whose tagline at the time was something to do with "for women who juggle their lives." I think you know who you are. And 6 times in a 2-page A4 letter, of which a third was taken up with coupon, it managed to use the word fantastic. And always in the same context, this fantastic saving. Now, the saving in question was, I think, if memory serves, £7.55. You're a 35-year-old businesswoman. I don't think you think that a saving of £7.55 is fantastic. It's all right, but these words have become degraded over the years by generations of hack copywriters trying to inject a bit of pep into their promotion. So be honest, avoid the super smashing great school of copywriting, and instead focus again on these benefits. Why will their life be easier, better, or simpler if they go along with what you're proposing? And my fifth and final tip for today is to become a copy historian. Most of the secrets of successful subscriptions marketing, successful subscriptions copywriting, aren't secrets at all. They're all in the public domain, and you can pick them all up for a maximum price, I would say, of about £60 if you buy half a dozen books. If you're prepared to do a bit more digging, you can probably get them for nothing by reading all the blogs that recapitulate all these ideas. I just want to pick out 2 sub-ideas. The first one is to send your copy by courier. If I was here in person, I'd ask for a show of hands as to who hates courier. I mean, if you do it now, I suspect what I'm seeing is a forest of hands. Now, personally, I like courier, but that's not the point. It doesn't matter about our personal aesthetic views on typefaces. What matters is what works, and what matters most is what works best. And another one of my kind of teachers, Drayton Bird, has gone on record as saying that in their tests, courier is 20% more profitable than other typefaces. Now, I have one client at another big publisher, and when I asked her if there were any typefaces we should use or avoid, she said, "I want you to use courier. I hate it, but we always make more money." So put your prejudices to one side if you have them, and give it a try. And lastly, longer copy versus shorter copy. Let's not sort of punch up. The fact is that 99 times out of 100, longer copy will outperform shorter copy in tests. If you don't believe it, that's fine, but I still think you should put your views or opinions to the test. And if you are in any doubt about whether this is an old school, boring old fart kind of argument from the world of print direct mail in the 80s, here's a promotion, an online promotion from Money Week that I think makes the point quite succinctly. And here we go. I'll see if you can get the point. So this is a landing page for a Money Week publication. Oh, there's quite a lot of it. Here we go. And I've spoken to the marketing manager at Money Week, Ryan, and he said, "I wish we didn't have to do this." He said, "I wish we didn't have to do this, but every time I write less copy, we sell fewer subscriptions." So thank you very much. I'm, again, so sorry I can't be there in person, and enjoy the rest of the conference.